Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alright, so today I'm going to be smoking, reviewing the USA Gold Menthol Gold 100 cigarettes from the United States. This is a pack of budget light menthol cigarettes, which is manufactured by Commonwealth Brands in North Carolina. And while I have had some experiences with USA Gold as a brand in the past, I have not tried this specific variety. And so when one of y'all was kind enough to contribute this pack to the channel, I, of course, decided I had to give it a go. Thank you so much to Mr. Fred Scott for having been kind enough to contribute this pack of cigarettes right here to the channel for me to smoke and make a review all about. Looking forward to giving this pack a go, I will admit, and looking forward to letting y'all know just what I think of it. I do suppose without further ado, I should probably go ahead and quickly cover the packaging. After that, I'm going to go ahead and get the cellophane all off. I'm going to get the pack all opened up, and I'm going to let you guys know what the cigarettes inside the pack actually look like, what they feel like, and what the quality of them is like. After that, I'm going to go ahead and get one of them lit up and actually get to smoking a USA Gold Menthol Gold 100 cigarette for the very first time. And once I'm done smoking, once I've gotten my fill of nicotine, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my final thoughts on this pack, and I'm going to give it a rating as well. But first off, as said, we've got to start with the packaging, which we can see is that of a longer than not rectangular hard pack with hard corners. Nothing too much crazy going on with the packaging itself, but the design on the packaging is pretty good in my personal opinion. We can see overall the background is that of a sort of, I'd have to say, light silvery sort of tealish gray. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, but it certainly is a color that implies that this is a pack of menthol light cigarettes, which is exactly what it is, so it makes sense why they would use the color they are using. At the very top up here, we can see there is a gold line just running across. Below that, in blue text, it just says USA right there, and right below it, it just says gold in gold text. Of course, that is the logo for the brand name, just says USA Gold. Under that, we get the variety name, Menthol Gold, right there, and right under that, we have a little bit of a bald eagle. Of course, these are called the USA Golds. They're supposed to be a patriotic and American pack of cigarettes, so what's more American than having a bald eagle on your packaging? Well, I don't think there's really anything that is too much more American than having a bald eagle on your packaging, so that's exactly what they've gone for, and frankly, but I think the design looks pretty solid. We can see the wings, the claws, the talons, and the tail all made up of gold, but to actually imply that this is indeed a bald eagle, the head of the eagle is indeed white with a little gold eye right there. Below the eagle itself, we can see there is a little bit of drop shadow going on, and below this full design, we can see it just says 100s down here, just letting us know what size these are, and then under that in blue, it just says Made in USA right there as well. We can see there's a ribbon at the bottom as well, and that's made up of a blue with a gold ribbon above it. There's a little bit of an area right here that just says 20, just letting us know how many cigarettes are in this pack, although that's not really a necessary thing these days because every pack of cigarettes in the United States is required to have no more and no less than 20 cigarettes in every pack. It is a legal requirement, so of course this pack has 20 in it, and we can see there are a bunch of white stars as well. There are, to be precise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 white stars on the front of the packaging. I don't know if those 12 stars have any sort of major significance. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they're just there to make this packaging look a little bit more American. I'm not sure. Either way, what I do know is that, in my opinion at least, this is some pretty dang good packaging for a budget pack of cigarettes. And while this packaging does certainly have some budget aspects to it, design-wise, such as this ribbon down here, definitely looks a little bit cheaper than not. Overall, though, I mean, like this packaging, it looks like lower mid-range in my personal opinion, which is very interesting and is pretty nice. I certainly don't mind this packaging by any means, and I think it does a good job of, well, doing exactly what it's trying to do. It does a good job of selling the cigarettes, and it does a good job of kind of calling out to you. It's pretty recognizable from a distance in my personal opinion, and It's pretty distinct packaging as a whole, if you ask me. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that the USA Gold text itself up here is indeed embossed. Same with the eagle, also embossed, and that's some pretty nice stuff to have. But yep, that's pretty much all there is to the front of the packaging. Moving on to the back, we can see the back of the packaging is quite literally exactly the same as the front. There's nothing different going on at all. Is this not embossed? Nope, still embossed, still embossed. All of this is still embossed. Well, can't complain about that. Moving on to the side of the packaging, we can see this ribbon right here stretches all the way around. And so yes, the design does indeed go all the way around the packaging, and this gold line up here stretches all the way around as well. That's a nice to see, I'll acknowledge. At the very bottom, we can see the barcode right there with some FSC text right there. Just says FSC, just acknowledging that these cigarettes are indeed fire safe, as has been a legal requirement in the United States since around about 2012. Above that, in blue text on that sort of, I guess the right way of putting it is it's sort of a minty silvery green background. But in blue on that background, we can see it just says Commonwealth Brands Inc., manufactured Reidsville, North Carolina 27320. And then above that, it just says USA Gold, Menthol Gold 100s. And then above that just says 20 Class A cigarettes right there. And then above that, there's just that gold line. On the other side, it just says underage sale prohibited. Just has the Surgeon General warning, which just says cigarette smoke contains carbon monoxide. Well, yes, that's like half the reason why cigarettes give as good of a buzz as they do, because they contain carbon monoxide. That's more of a benefit than a downside if you ask me, but I probably shouldn't be saying that on video. But take what I say with a grain of salt, but I'm just surprised this is considered a warning in all honesty. And we can see the gold right here, the blue right there, and taking a look at the top, we can see it's pretty simple, nothing too crazy going on, just got that sort of minty, silvery green background. USA Gold, Menthol Gold 100s, right there. Is this embossed on the top? It is embossed. That's pretty nice, not gonna lie. Not embossed on the side, though, I do want to acknowledge. And then on the bottom, it is not embossed, but we just get a royal blue background, I'd have to say, like a very deep blue, but not like almost purple deep, but just a deep, nice, simple blue. Just says USA Gold, Menthol Gold 100s. Once again, right there, we can see there's an Indiana tax stamp, as that's where this pack was purchased. And then we can see there's some cigarette numbers to the side over here as well. Just says C16064-1A00:05. That's what it says. And we can tell that due to the background of this, of the bottom of the packaging being blue, that this stretches all the way around. Man, I love seeing packaging that has designs that stretch around, and they do it pretty well with this packaging, even though it's nothing particularly crazy. Like they add the wings from the eagle, they don't really stretch around, but you know, it is what it is. I'm just glad it stretches around just a little bit. But yep, that's really all there is to the packaging. Nothing too crazy by any means, but certainly not a bad look if you ask me. I'm gonna go ahead and get this pack all opened up now, and I'm gonna go ahead and just take a look at the quality of the packaging and the look of it without the cellophane on, and let's just take a look real quick. We can see quality of the packaging is average, not really worse than average, not really better than average. It's just average quality. Overall feel wise, it feels like printed paperboard, a little bit glossy, a little bit sticky, but it's just printed paperboard with embossment on it. Yeah, no texture changes going on or anything like that. And overall, does this packaging look better with the cellophane off than on? Absolutely it does. Without further ado, let's get this pack all opened up for the very first time, and let's take a look inside. There is a little thing on the inside of the lid, just says that they have their website and whatnot right there. And then they've got a little symbol right there saying do not litter. Their website is, I believe, just informational. You cannot buy cigarettes online in the United States. And so if you see a website on a pack of cigarettes in the United States, that is not a website that will allow you to buy cigarettes from there, kind of thing. You cannot do that. And so if you see a pack of Newports with a website on the side or something like that, you cannot buy Newports off that website. The same can be said about the URL on this packaging as well. But we can see that there is an insert right here made up of that minty green once again. No complaints, no complaints. Pretty normal insert, nothing too crazy by any means, but I like that it's not just a basic white. I like that they keep the same color palette going. The foil itself is just a basic silver foil though. I think it would make more sense to be gold, but this is a budget cigarette, so I really can't complain. And honestly, I'm just happy enough that this matches the color of the packaging. No complaints. Just says pull on it though, so let's do exactly that. I'd have to say kind of slick foily on the outside and paper-like on the inside. And pulls out pretty cleanly, pretty easily. Can't complain. Gonna go and put that trash in my backpack, and let's go and take a look at what these cigarettes actually look like, what they feel like, what the quality of them is like now. And yeah, nothing too crazy going on looks-wise. I'll acknowledge we've got a pretty big white filter, and there is two. Oh wow, those are really small. Man, I should have brought my glasses with me today. I don't normally need to wear glasses when I'm doing cigarette reviews, but sometimes they are necessary, and this is one of those scenarios where it's like, dang, I need my glasses, bruh. But yeah, those are two extremely small lines of perforation on the filter. The dots are tiny, but there are a decent amount of dots. That's very interesting. That's probably the smallest line of perforation I have seen in a very long time. Interesting, interesting. At the bottom of the white filter, though, we can see we get a green line right there. And then below that, we get a green eagle design, just letting us know exactly what brand this is. Not only can we tell what brand this is based off the design on the cigarette, but we can also tell that this is a menthol because it's got a green color scheme to it. Below the filter, though, it's just normal white paper with horizontal lines going all the way across, all the way down. And the blend of the tobacco is very much that of in my opinion, a medium blend, maybe slightly medium to dark, but more of a medium blend if you ask me. And overall quality-wise, this cigarette is perfectly fine. It's just average. Being average quality is not a bad thing. It's a good thing if you ask me, but it's just average quality nonetheless. It certainly ain't falling apart in my hands, and it's getting a little bit chilly. I'll acknowledge. I'm just gonna wipe my nose real quick before I go ahead and smell the cigarette because I don't want to get stuff coming out my nose all over my cigarette I'm about to smoke. But yeah, it was like 72. It was like a high of 72 today, and I think it's down to like 65 right now. I'm wearing my sweater, and I'm still feeling a little bit chilly. I'm not gonna lie. I should have brought like my beanie out or something, or maybe worn a hoodie today. Not exactly sure, but let's go ahead and smell this cigarette real quick. And frankly put, it has a well, menthol smell to it. I'd have to say slightly sweet, sour, menthol spearmint, sort of minty smell. A little bit of nuttiness. A little bit of cream in there, I'd have to say. Just like a little bit of like coffee creamer, a little bit of nuttiness, and yeah, it's about all I'm noticing, honestly. It's about all I'm noticing. Yeah, overall, smells like a menthol light cigarette. What a surprise. That's exactly what this pack is. But yeah, I think that's just about all there was to, well, talk about the look, the feel, the quality, the smell of this cigarette. Is there anything else to cover about the smell? Let me just check one more time. Don't think there is. Don't think there is. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take a sip of water real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and get to smoking. I do think I should probably do that. After all, my goal today is to review the USA Gold Menthol Gold 100s. So I should probably, well, smoke one to actually have the review, right? I got my lighter out, but I accidentally took out my headphones at the same time with it. I guess my lighter was a little bit tangled up there for a moment, but we got my lighter out, no issue at all. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this cigarette lit up, and let's go ahead and get to smoking. Yes, sir, yes, sir, and I'm saying. It's been a while since the last time I smoked a 100, I'll acknowledge, so due to muscle memory, I tried to light like right there, but I fixed it immediately. No issue at all. The body is not particularly dense. It's nothing crazy, but it is of a pretty decent size for being a body from a light 100 cigarette. I mean, like 100s just generally tend to have smaller bodies than like shorts or king-size cigarettes, just because of the extra length and whatnot. And of course, lights tend to have smaller bodies because there tends to be a little bit more airiness going on. They tend to be a little bit lighter, both strength-wise and body-wise and smoke-wise. But With this one, man, it's a surprisingly decently sized body for being a light 100, especially light 100 menthol, which tend to be even lighter than just a normal light cigarette. Yeah, body-wise, I mean, like, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy. But it's of about an equivalent size as you would expect from this cigarette. It's not a smaller body than I expected. It's not a bigger body than I expected, but it's just a body that's the size of the body I was expecting. It's not particularly dense, not particularly big, but man, not badly sized for what this cigarette is. Airflow-wise, I mean, like, the airflow is perfectly fine. Not bad by any means. And draw-wise, I'd say the draw is very much out of a medium draw. Now, even with the perforation on the filter, this cigarette, honestly, doesn't really come across as being all that airy, even with the main amount of the tar building up in the center of the filter. So we can definitely tell the perforation, the airiness is doing something. But the way this cigarette comes across, it doesn't really come across as being all that airy, unlike some others. But I can definitely tell the perforation is doing something, and the perforation is definitely making the draw a little bit heavier than it would otherwise be. And so as such, I'd have to say it's that of a medium draw, but that's not a big deal. It's a satisfying medium draw, and it helps that medium draws are to my personal preference. Yeah, not a bad draw by any means. Draw is perfectly fine. Airflow is perfectly fine. I am of the opinion that the USA Gold, Menthol Gold 100s are not meant to be anything crazy, but they are just meant to be a solid smoke that is good to your wallet and provides a decent experience for the price. And so far, that is what I am getting, I'll acknowledge. That's been the experience I've gotten from the brand previously, and that's the experience I'm getting from this smoke in specific. Roughness and smoothness-wise, I would say very much out of a 3 out of 4 currently. Might get a little bit rougher towards the end, and so I may change my rating, but right now, it's like a 3 out of 4 roughness-wise. It's quite smooth. It's quite smooth, I'll acknowledge. And the menthol is certainly helping because, of course, that's numbing my throat just a little bit. Or maybe not numbing my throat, that would be clove, but it's smoothing my throat just a little bit. And then strength-wise, I'm feeling a little bit of nicotine, nothing too crazy. I'd say probably like a 4, maybe a 5 out of 10. I'm going to stick to a 4 out of 10 strength-wise right now. But yeah, it's a light cigarette. It's a light menthol cigarette. Taste-wise is nothing insane either. I'm going to have another one, and I'm going to cover the taste, the flavor then. But flavor notes I'm just noticing from the first one, of course, menthol. It is not a light menthol flavor. It is a heavy menthol flavor, although not the heaviest by any means. It's a moderate menthol flavor, but it is the prominent flavor, I think is really the right way of putting it. Under that, you can definitely taste, under the menthol, you can definitely taste just a little bit of nuttiness, a little bit of sort of like almost coffee creamer, slightly vanilla flavor. But there's really not much going on. It's very much out of a slightly sour, slightly sweet, I'd have to say menthol spearmint flavor with undertones of just a little bit of nuttiness and a little bit of like vanilla coffee creamer kind of thing. Or I guess more milky coffee creamer is probably the right way of putting it. And my cherry is trying to run away currently. Where'd it go? I'm sitting next to a field that I would prefer not to catch on fire. So just had to stub that out, I'll acknowledge. But before I get my next cigarette lit up, let's go and take a look at where the filter sits. We can see it sits just a little bit before the green line right there. So stubbing it out where I stubbed out this cigarette is probably going to be the best idea for this pack. And the filter itself gets a little bit mushy at the end. Not terribly mushy by any means. And taking a look at the filter, we can definitely tell the perforation does indeed do something, as there is a white line going around the center. All of the tar is built up in the middle. And yeah, that's all there was to the first smoke. Overall, my impressions of it initially are, it's a menthol light cigarette that gets the job done. Nothing crazy, nothing insanely unique, but not bad quality. I didn't get any sort of a chemical taste, a paper taste, an icky taste. It was just a menthol light cigarette that gets the job done. Now, I'm not much of a menthol smoker. There are menthol cigarettes I do like, but overall, I'm not the biggest menthol enthusiast, so these are really not my personal speed. However, for what they are, my initial impressions are just that, hey, they're solid. They're nothing crazy, but they're just solid. Yeah, it's kind of my thoughts on them, I'll acknowledge. Well, I do suppose without further ado, I'm going to go and have another one. Really let you guys know what the flavor of them is like. And I'm going to grab myself a thumbnail as well. I think I've covered everything I really wanted to cover other than the flavor. So, yeah, let's get another one going. Let's get a little bit more of a buzz going, you know what I'm saying? Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying? Well, hopefully one of those will do as a thumbnail for the video. We will find out. Overall, flavor-wise, it's about, as I said, it was with the first one. Yeah, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy. I'm not noticing any sort of a paper taste, additive taste, or just in general off taste, which is very good. And I can definitely say without a doubt that these are, gotta admit, higher quality than some more expensive cigarettes these days. When it comes to a, so my personal definition of quality when it comes to a cigarette is a cigarette that doesn't have any sort of a paper taste or a, like chemical taste or something like that kind of thing. Like if it has like a super heavy like chemical or paper taste, then it's a lower quality cigarette than a cigarette that doesn't have any of that sort of flavor or taste or anything like that. That's my opinion, at least. And when compared to some more expensive cigarettes that... I'm trying to think of where was I going with this? I've completely lost my train of thought, I'm not gonna lie. Basically what I'm trying to say is that there are some more expensive cigarettes out there that have a lower quality taste to them. Not gonna lie, there definitely are more expensive cigarettes out there that have a lower quality taste to them. I hate to say it, because Newport, you know, it's a legendary brand, but actually these are higher quality than Newports. Now, it's been a while since the last time I had a Newport, but these are slightly higher quality than Newports. That's my take. Now, do these taste like Newports? No, they're not gonna scratch that same itch. But are they just quality-wise higher quality than Newports? Yes, I'm gonna have to say they are, and these are definitely as well higher quality than Marlboro Menthols, if you ask me, and definitely higher quality than Marlboro Menthol Lights, which is probably the main big name brand competitor to these cigarettes, aside from budget brands made by the big two in the United States, R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris, which would be like Pall Mall and L&M Menthol Lights. These are better quality than those, I gotta admit. Yeah, for what these are, they are impressively good quality cigarettes. They're nothing crazy, by any means. Don't get me wrong, they're nothing crazy. But they are higher quality than some more expensive cigarettes out there. Taste-wise, though, nothing insane. It's very much just that of a semi-sweet, semi-sort of sour/bitter spearmint menthol flavor with undertones of a little bit of a sweet, sort of nutty, slightly buttery, I'd have to say slightly creamy, sort of coffee creamer-like flavor underneath. And that's very much what the flavor of these cigarettes is like. It's nothing insane, nothing crazy, but that's what the flavor is. And, yeah, it's go and test the body. Body, definitely, as you get towards the bottom, gets bigger. Bigger body towards the bottom, without a doubt. Like, these already don't have a decent sized body at the very beginning for what they are. But as you get towards the bottom, the body actually gets decently sized, I'll acknowledge. And overall, you know, I'm gonna have to say roughness, smoothness wise, towards the bottom, they definitely do get a little bit rougher. I'm gonna have to say roughness, smoothness wise, my final decision is that these are a 4 out of 10. Definitely still smoother than not, without a doubt. But they're a little bit rougher than I initially thought, and these definitely do get a little bit rougher towards the bottom. Strength wise, I'm gonna have to say 4 out of 10. And yeah, airflow is perfectly fine. Draw is a medium draw. Yeah. Not too bad if I do say so myself. Not too bad if I do say so myself. Not my thing, but hey, for what these are, I can't diss them. I can't diss them. Yeah. Frankly put, I mean, like, these are a budget menthol gold cigarette. And having now had 2 of them, I can say that that's exactly what these are. They are a budget menthol light cigarette. They're nothing crazy. I don't think they're meant to be anything crazy. They're meant to be a cigarette that gets the job done at the strength level it promises and have that menthol flavor as well. And that's what these accomplish. They are exactly what you would think they are. The taste is nothing insane. The way they smoke is nothing crazy. But they're just menthol light cigarettes that are a budget brand. And for being a budget brand, they are higher quality than some more expensive alternatives out there, like the Marlboro menthol lights or the Newport lights or the Pall Mall lights or the L&M lights. These are better quality than those, in my opinion, which is a pretty big deal if you ask me. Yeah, goes to show. Just because something is made by a smaller company and is a smaller nameplate doesn't mean it's any worse quality. Just means they don't have as much of a budget for marketing. That's what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. But, yeah. Overall, would I buy a pack of the... I almost just said menthol golds. That's not the actual name for this. Well, like, that is the variety name for this pack, but these are the USA menthol golds. Would I buy a pack... Get words jumbled up. Would I buy a pack of the USA menthol gold 100s with my own money? No, I wouldn't, personally. They're just not my thing. I'm not a menthol cigarette smoker. I am not a light cigarette smoker either. So I can definitely say these are not my thing. However, they are exactly what they are. They promise to be a menthol gold, and they sure are that. Yeah, that's really the best way of putting it. Am I going to enjoy smoking the rest of this pack? I'll probably smoke the rest of it eventually. Just whenever I'm wanting a menthol cigarette, maybe light one up kind of thing. I wouldn't buy a pack with my own money just because they're not my thing, but it's not because they're bad cigarettes. They're solid. They're okay. They're certainly not the best cigarettes in the world, but I think they're better than average, without a doubt. For me, at least, you know, I'm going to have to give these an 8 out of 10, which is a higher rating than I was initially thinking. I was thinking initially, just like before this video, just trying to think, okay, if they're what they're going to be, if what they're like is how I'm imagining, I'm going to probably give them like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 or something like that kind of thing. But no, they exceeded my expectations. I mean, like, it's not a pack that I would personally buy with my own money. It's not a pack that I think I would smoke on a routine basis. But for what they are, they absolutely do a good job kind of thing. And for that, you know, I gotta give them some respect. I gotta give these an 8 out of 10. The USA Gold, Menthol Gold 100s, they're getting an 8 out of 10. And that's my rating for this pack. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these cigarettes, if you guys have tried them in the past. Do you guys like them? Do you guys not? Let me know y'all's thoughts on them. And as well, thank you so much once again to Mr. Fred Scott for having been kind enough to provide this pack to the channel. Hope you guys are enjoying this video. Hope you guys have been enjoying this video. And if you guys did enjoy this video, of course, like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my Patreon, all in the description down below. Go check it all out. Appreciate y'all watching. To the next one, stay safe and peace, and have a great one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying?